Good morning, Steve. So, who do we have today for our official nice spring episode?
David, our special guest today is so lovely. I had the chance to meet her down in Washington, D.C. at the CAI Expo a few weeks ago, right? And she is the chapter executive director of the CAI Central Virginia chapter. We have Brandi Nuckols with us today. Brandi, thanks for being on the show. Would you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you guys for having me on. It's truly my pleasure. So the Central Virginia chapter is located in Central Virginia. We're one of 4 chapters that serve Virginia. We have one to the west, we have one to the east, and then the Washington Metro chapter to the north. So I've been CED of this chapter since August. This is our 35th year as a chapter, so that's really exciting. Big things happening.
Wow, 4, huh?
Cool.
There's a lot going on down there.
Yes, there is.
Tell us a little bit about you first. How long have you been in the common interest community world? Because you say you just jumped in as a chapter executive. Tell us more.
So I actually came from a management background. I was a portfolio manager. So I've been in the community association world specifically for about 10 years. I started off very young in real estate. 2008 hit. Real estate didn't really seem like the hot thing to do anymore for a little bit. So I moved over to property management, found my way to managing some condo buildings, picked up a mixed portfolio, fell in love, and now I'm executive director.
Now, in your experience, where is being like an active member of a chapter? Now you're on the other side, you're on the director side. Why is it so important for people to be engaged and active?
Yeah, so when I joined into the community association world, I really thought I kind of had it all together. Having the property management background, I was like, oh, I totally have this. And community associations are so different from managing rentals and doing property management. So I had great support at the company that I was at, but they introduced me to CAI, and the knowledge, it just expanded exponentially when I was able to get into education sessions and go to social events and meet other people that were doing the same thing that I was doing. So just joining CAI and realizing that there's so many of us out there, we're all dealing with the same problems.
You made a comment that made me come up with a question. I think it's great. Why do you think like a social event is important for somebody's growth? Like think about like a small business owner, and they may not necessarily want a business development person to do a social event. So why would I pay for you to go to Topgolf? Why would I pay for you to have drinks with managers? This sounds like I'm just paying you for having a good time. Why do you think it's still important as they attend?
Yeah, so when I started I started off with education events. That was the first thing I did. And that was really helpful. I got a lot of knowledge, but it was a lot of, sitting and listening and not a lot of interacting. And then I started going out to some of the social events and being involved on that side. And just a 15-minute conversation with one person can give you so much more knowledge than you ever thought imaginable. So although education is really important, that's a big part of this, the social events are equally as important. And for me, especially, it was important enough in my own career that I quickly joined the social committee. And I was on the social committee for 7 years within our chapter, but I was chair of the social committee for 4 years of that.
How does one go from being on the side of, say, committee chair or being on the board? Like, how do you actually go from being a manager and being involved from that side of things into actually becoming a chapter executive director? I mean, it's a big step.
Yeah, it was a unique kind of journey. So I'm one of those people, I don't really like surface level stuff. I like to go all in, and I want to know all the details and how everything fits together and how all the pieces work. So I was listening to, people that were on the Legislative Action Committee, and I was hearing about that side and talking to our attorneys and lawmakers about the different bills that were going in and the business partners and how insurance works and the ins and outs of all of that. And as a manager, you have a very important piece of the pie for sure. But when you kind of step back and you look at all of it, you realize it's so much more than just management that makes our communities run effectively. There are so many pieces, and I
Yeah.
really wanted to have a part in all of that. I wanted to understand all of it, and CAI is the embodiment of it all. And so this just seemed like the right fit, the right role for me.
Okay, so how do you take all those pieces that you gain from being on the manager's side? Like how do you take those experiences and actually use them as an executive director of a chapter? Is there any overlap there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think back to, it wasn't that long ago that I was a manager. So I think back to what I needed as a manager, what education I needed, what social networking I needed, who I needed to talk to, what was beneficial for me. And then I have the unique opportunity. My husband's on the kind of business partner world side. And so I hear from him, what he would need as a business partner. We're homeowners, so I can understand that membership type. And I feel like I have a very unique ability to see it from all different perspectives. And so when I'm looking at a social event, or I'm looking at an education, or at our technology needs, or what have you, I think about how each membership type, what they need out of that, and I make sure that I'm encompassing all of them equally, because all of them are equally as important, and we want to make sure that we're giving everybody the resources that they all need.
So it sounds like you gained a lot of empathy from being on the manager side that you can actually apply as a chapter executive director, which is great. Now, speaking of empathy, what kind of role does philanthropy play in community association chapter?
As a manager, as a board member, as a business partner, as any of us, we can get kind of short-sighted, and we pay so much attention to our neighborhoods and to our communities that we can sometimes forget that it's more than just within those community perimeters. It extends far beyond that. Our neighborhoods are only as good as the entire community that surrounds it. And so we have to make sure that we're paying attention and supporting our law enforcement and our first responders and our hospitals and our pharmacies and, everything that encompasses a community more than just our neighborhood. So we make sure that every year we support some sort of local charity that is important to us. This year we are supporting the Richmond Fisher House. They're a program that gives housing to families that are coming in from out of town with their veteran or their military loved one, that the veteran or service member is receiving some sort of treatment medically, and the family needs a place to stay. So the Richmond Fisher House provides them with that. So that's this year's. In years past, we've done, supporting social services programs, supporting programs that help high school kids transition into college, supporting different animal rescue
That's
places.
awesome.
And we want to expand on that for sure. Right now, we're just doing one charity a year. But
Right.
as our chapter expands, we want to make sure that that's expanding with it.
Very cool. Now let's talk a little bit about the big event. It's the National Expo that is coming up May 17th to 20th in Dallas, Texas. This expo is the premier event for any community association matters. Now, homeowner, board members, business partners from all around the globe are going to convey to Dallas, Texas, with over 1,000 attendees, 175 exhibitors. Am I going to see you there, Brandi?
Yes, absolutely. I would not miss it for the world. And I'm really excited because this is going to be my first year.
All right. So what do you know that we can expect? Why would I go down to Dallas for an expo? What would you tell these folks?
Yeah, so I mean, just the sheer networking abilities and the chance to meet people and hear different perspectives, that alone should have you there. So we'll have 22 education sessions from, managing different maintenance responsibilities, running meetings, all kinds of different opportunities to gain knowledge there. There's going to be food from around the world. There's going to be Texas food favorites. And then I hear something about a piano duel.
Oh,
So it sounds epic. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited.
I did hear about that.
Now,
Yeah,
there's also something to be said is that this is a special anniversary year.
it is. Yes, CAI turns 50. And I mean, what they've been able to do in 50 years is just amazing. I don't know if you guys know this, but in 1975, they only had 1,000 members, and we're almost at 50,000. That's
So
massive.
Oh.
it is amazing. And maybe some things that I'm sure you didn't know is that JGS Insurance has been a member since 1978.
That's incredible. Back for that.
Got a long history of involvement with this. It's actually it's very critical to what we do, and being involved and understanding the community. So it really helps out. So who should actually be attending, right? So this sounds like there's a lot going on down there in Texas, but who is this aimed at?
If you have anything to do with a community association in any capacity, you should be there.
Yeah, that's kind of the answer I was expecting. Yes. Absolutely. And if you see a bunch of people on one of those pedal tours going around, just wave, because I'm probably have my eyes closed while I'm on it.
I like it.
But we love to give our guests an opportunity to shout out to somebody that's been influential to them, their career, their business, favorite charity, something. The microphone is yours, Brandi. Go for it.
I've been a member of this chapter for 7 years now as a manager, not just as the executive director. And honestly, I could not pick just one person to recognize. Something that someone asked me up in DC, they said, what makes your chapter different? What makes your chapter special? And truly for me, our chapter is just one big family. I am where I am today because of the support of all of our members. Our board is incredible. Our committees are amazing. And I couldn't be as successful as I am without the support of every single one of them. So I love this chapter. I love that we are a family. I love being a part of it. And it's truly my honor to be their executive director. So thank you, all of my chapter members.
That's awesome. Thank you very much for this nice shout out. In the meantime, we hope everybody has a great rest of their week. And we'll see you all next time in the next episode of Community Association Call Chat. See you around, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.